Hello, and welcome to the Coffee, Yarn, and Dinosaurs podcast. Today is October 2nd. It's October, guys. And my name is Ruth. I'm coming to you from Philadelphia, where I live with my husband, my two small sons, and my brother-in-law, and soon a baby girl in December. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for those of you who are coming back, returning viewers. Love you guys so much. I appreciate you taking your time to watch my little podcast. And for those of you who are new, hi. Thanks for coming to check this out. I'm going to jump right in today because I don't really have any administrative stuff, but I have so much to show you because I appear to have caught the startitis a little more than I usually have. Like, I usually have a lot of projects on the needles, a lot of them. But I counted up before I started, and I think I have like 12 or 13 projects that are actually on my needles right now. And when I say active projects, because people ask me that, like, when you say active projects, do you just mean you started it and you haven't gotten to finish it yet? The way I define active projects is projects that I work on at least once a week. So everything that I'm going to show you gets worked on at least once a week, which, yes, I have a problem, obviously. I am drinking just regular coffee from my, ooh, there's a little drip on there. Gotta make it fancy. Good Morning Sunshine mug, and you wouldn't know it from looking at it, but this is actually from Knit Picks, which is crazy. But I love coffee mugs, like love them. I have a problem. I have a whole cabinet full of them, and then I use my two favorite ones. But anyway, I love them. Good Morning Sunshine. It's a nice happy mug for the morning, which I like. So I'm just gonna start right in with whips because I didn't actually finish anything. I cast on so many things that I didn't actually finish anything. So, ooh, I am in the middle of a row. Why is it? I'm always in the middle of the row when I go to show you guys. That's okay. It's big enough that it wouldn't have mattered. So this is my Cowgirl Chic shawl by Knit Eco Chic. And that is Lindsay. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to show you guys this. Because if you look at it, this is, I want to say it's a 32-inch needle, either 24 inches or 32. Size US 6, and this has a really cool construction to it because you cast it on from it's a triangular shawl and you cast on at the widest part. So every row you're decreasing, which is amazing because you literally have less stitches to knit every single row. But you have to know that you have enough yarn for what you're making, which is why I'm usually too chicken to design shawls in this style, because I'm usually afraid I'm gonna run out of yarn, even though I know technically I have enough. But this one isn't gonna be a full triangle. It's sort of like, I'm trying to make the right shape with my hands. It has the V like a triangular shawl, but it doesn't go all the way up to a flat top. It's gonna have like, yeah, there we go. It's kind of like this shape when you make it, like a long V. So let's see if I can show you some of the details. It has a picot cast on, which I love. I recently discovered the picot bind off, so it's really fun for me to see a picot cast on. And then it's got some little eyelets in the middle, in the center of the shawl. And let me find one of the edges for you. So you can see it's got this nice slanty edge. And it actually has an edging that I've never seen before, and I figured maybe I had just never seen the technique, because Lindsay uses a lot of techniques that I haven't seen before, or that I think are maybe a little bit less common, And it's not necessarily that they're trickier than the ones I use. She just uses very different techniques than I do. It's one of those things where you look at another designer's pattern and I think, wow, her brain works so differently from mine. And I've learned to just trust her patterns because they come out great. But sometimes I don't really know what's going on. So this neat little edge. And then I found out, because she's running a knit along right now, and this is one of the patterns in her Hoedown Showdown knit along. And I found out from the chatter thread, the reason I hadn't seen this edging technique before is actually because she made it up, which is pretty cool. And I like it a lot. It's pretty snazzy. It gives you the look of I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this. There we go. It gives you the look of a slip-stitched edge, but it's decreasing because she's sneaky like that. So, this yarn is from Spunwear Over the Rainbow, and it's from Stash, which is awesome, because I'm really, guys, I'm trying to get the stash under control. I really am. I know you guys probably don't believe me because I keep saying this, and I've been saying this for months, but I'm really trying to get the stash under control. It's a problem. So these are both Spunwear Over the Rainbow, and they are naturally dyed yarns, which the more I see of naturally dyed yarns, the more I like them. And I think I would like to try natural dyeing. Now that I've started with the normal acid dyes, I think I'd like to try some natural dyeing too. So we'll see if that happens. But this is dyed with logwood, is the dye. So it's this pretty deep purple normally. And I've learned that one of the ways you do natural dyeing, just free information for 30 seconds, is you prepare the pot of dye first, and you can basically keep dunking yarn into it until you run out of dye. Which is interesting because with acid dyes, like the powdered dyes that come in the container, usually you measure out the exact amount that you need to dye how much yarn you have. But with the natural dyes, you can literally just make up the dye and keep dunking the yarn in until you run out of color, which is what happened here. So this dark color is the first set of dyeing, and then the purple color, or the lighter one that you can see that I kind of striped in here, she called it a second dip, which is basically there was still some color left in the dye pot, and so she put another skein in to just absorb whatever was left of the dye, which is really cool because that means that she completely used up the resource that she had, which I respect. So yeah, this is gonna be so wide that this little bit at the bottom was actually about 40 grams of yarn. And it's a sport weight yarn. I'm trying to think how many yards. I want to say it might be like 250 to 280, somewhere around there for a 100 gram skein. So this is at least 100 yards, and it only got that high. That's maybe 6 inches, including the dark stripe. But I used up, this was a remnant from my, where'd it go? Shabby Chic shawl, which I finally blocked. Look, it's blocked, ha ha ha. I wanted to show you this again, even though my ends aren't woven in, cause I like it. Tail can go through here. Let's put the tail through here, just cause it's fun. So, Shabby Chic, once again, by Knit Eco Chic, because she is really good at enabling people to do eco-friendly things, like use naturally dyed yarn, or when I talk to her about making baby stuff, she's like, let me tell you all the reasons why you should get this type of material for baby clothes. Ah, you make excellent points. So she's really good at enabling people to do eco-friendly things, which is good. So I felt like if I was knitting her patterns, I should be using eco-friendly yarns, which is why I have this naturally dyed Shabby Chic and my naturally dyed Cowgirl Chic, which is very exciting. And this is only a couple days worth of knitting. Like really, if I sat down and like focused for a couple of days straight, it would be done. It's a pretty fast knit, even though you cast on like 300 some stitches. So here's how much I have left of the darker one in the cake. Look how pretty that is. It's such a pretty color. Just a nice deep fall purple. I love it. And I think I want to say I have about 60 grams of this left. So this is about 80 grams of yarn so far, and it's about maybe 7 inches high, somewhere around there. So I'm anticipating that I'll get another, oh no, I do know how much I can get out of it because, excuse me, I weighed my yarn at the beginning and end of each row because I wanted to know how much more I could get left. And I'm using about a gram per row of yarn. And I have like 60 grams left, I think. 60 or 70, I'm not sure. And the rows are getting smaller as I go. So really, I could work like 60 or 70 more rows of this. And I don't know that I want to, because that might be a pretty big shawl. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would like to use it all up, but I don't know if that's a reality. We'll see. I'll try. So that's that. That's my Shabby Chic. Got yarn falling all over here. I have so many whips going on right now. I literally just have to look in project bags and see. Okay, I'll save that for in a minute. The big Harry Potter bag with my rose sweater. And I'm wearing black, so it might be a little hard for you guys to see this. But the last time I showed you, it's a pieced sweater by Michelle Wang. Yep. And the last time I showed it to you, I had the back panel done and the left front done. And since then, you guys are all gonna get to see the belly because I'm standing up. I have done the right front. Check that out. Check out all that cabley coolness. Got all these beautiful cables and texture in it, which I love. So, yeah, that's about where it'll hit. And it's gonna block out a little bit. And it's also gonna have a big shawl collar to about here. So a couple inches of a shawl collar. So I've got that. And then I also finished, just gonna keep standing up, a sleeve. So check that out. Pretty darn cool. So I can tell by putting it on, just by kind of holding this on my arm, that it's gonna be a semi-fitted sleeve, but that's okay because I don't really want a really, really big, loose, like loosey-goosey all over the place. But, oh yeah, I'll just show you guys. It has the same cables, the same really pretty pattern. And I am knitting this with Knit Picks City Tweed DK. So, all I have left, which is super exciting, is I have to do one more sleeve and join everything together and do the really big shawl collar. So, oh, and P.S., I have so much yarn left, okay? I ordered 22 balls of 50-gram balls of the Knit Picks City Tweed because the pattern called for an amount that I would need maybe 20 and a half balls of yarn. So I was like, well, I'm ordering it. I want to make sure I have enough to finish the sweater. Like, I really do not want to put in an online order for one 50-gram ball of yarn. That would just drive me crazy. So I decided to get 22 instead of 21. and I have at least 8 balls of yarn left. Actually, watch this. Knitting has taken over my house. That's my pantry, in case you were wondering, but yes, it has yarn in it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 10 right now. This is still in the package that it came in. Like, it came in 10 ball packs, and I still have a whole pack of 10 that I haven't even broken into yet. Plus probably about half a ball left in there from doing one of the sleeves. So I'm gonna have so much of this dark tweed left over. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm not sure, because let's see. DK weight. Rats. I can't see how much is in here, and I'm crinkling a lot. I want to say it's something like 120 yards per 50 grams. So, dang, that means I'm going to have 1,200 yards left over, guys, if I don't break into this. I'm going to have at least 1,000 yards of yarn left over, which is pretty crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot of overestimating. I don't know. I hope this sweater fits. Maybe the shawl collar is gonna take like 4 balls of yarn or something, but I really hope this sweater fits if I'm gonna have that much. You have 1,000 yards of yarn left over? That's a lot. So anyway, if you know something that I can do with tons of almost black DK weight yarn, let me know. Maybe I'll make something for my husband. It's nice and warm. It's not superwash though, which could be a problem, because he tends to just throw things in the washer and dryer and has felted a couple things accidentally. All right, so anyway, that's my rose sweater. I'm gonna go into my, this is what things get stored in. I have one of those cubbies, like those square cubby things upstairs in my spare room, and that's where a lot of my yarn gets kept. A lot of it, most of it. It's taking over my house. So this pantry back here currently has like a full drawer of just project bags and yarn. And then I have a desk that has 2 drawers with yarn in it. And I have this blue thing right here is a desk. And the top drawer has about like 8 to 10 skeins of sock yarn in it. I'm trying to get the stash under control. It's a problem. But here is my next project. This is my dyeing mask from dyeing, occupational hazard. This is my Recoletta sweater by Hohi Locatelli for her fall. I think it's just a fall knit along. I don't think there's any specific category. I don't think it's like a fall sweater knit along or anything like that. So the last time I showed you guys, I had just finished this top bit. And now I am down to, I've just divided for the sleeves. So you can see that's where I've got the sleeves on hold. I just throw them on yarn. I don't really use stitch holders. It's not really a thing for me. I don't care. I just use yarn because that's how I started out doing it. I didn't even know stitch holders were a thing when I started knitting, and I just used yarn because I had it. So now that's what I use. So we have, like I said before, last episode, if you saw that, I love this construction that she uses for her sweaters. And I'm noticing in her fall knit along Ravelry chatter thread, it seems like she uses this style of sweater design for a lot of her sweaters, which is awesome because I enjoy it. So that means that I would probably enjoy knitting some of her other sweaters. So the way that it works is this part right here is actually the back collar. So you knit across like the back of the neck, And I'm not giving anything away because this pattern is so complicated you couldn't make it up by yourself if you wanted to. Like the lace and everything. That came out wrong. It's not so complicated that you couldn't knit it, but it's complex enough with the lace pattern that from me just flashing it up here and saying, hey, you knit across the back of the sweater, you wouldn't be able to replicate the pattern. Right, so back of the neck, and then you pick up stitches. I don't know if you can see this. You pick up stitches along the part of the collar that you've already done and start working down raglan sleeve increases. So you're still, at the same time, you're simultaneously working the row for the collar across your sleeve increases and then the lace for the back. So if you don't like juggling multiple charts at the same time, possibly not for you, because say you're on row like 8 on the collar, you're not going to be on the same row on the back of the sweater. I don't know why she did it that way, it just happened. So you have to work the collar chart, pay attention to your sleeve increases, and then work the correct row across the back, which is also increasing. So, must pay attention to this sweater, which is why it is only this far. But that's okay, because I'm really enjoying knitting it, and it's a good sweater for when I can sit down and give it attention for maybe an hour or two at a time. Like if I knit a lot when the kids are sleeping, which is what I'm doing right now, podcasting while the kids are sleeping. Yeah, so if I sit down for maybe an hour or so and knit on this, it's great because I can really pay attention to it and focus, and it's awesome. So, oh, yarn. This is Knit Picks Preciosa Worsted in the Duchess colorway. I think it's the only purple they have, so it's not like you would go on there and find a different purple. It's the only purple they have. And I am knitting it on size 9 Knit Picks interchangeables. And you've probably seen them hanging around here. I've got my little Truffles Shuffle unicorn and octopus keeping me company for progress papers. Yep, okay, that's it for that bucket. Dropping knitting needles. Project bags. I have not worked on you this week. That's how things go. Oh, okay, and while we're talking about sweaters, so this is a bag that I made myself. It's a bigger on the inside, exploding TARDIS bag, which is great. So I cast on, because I have a problem, I cast on a So Faded sweater, but I'm going to make it a cardigan because I have a problem and cannot just knit things the way they are written, apparently. So I haven't gotten very far. Like, ta-da, look, I cast on and I have my stitch markers for increases and ta-da. So I did a provisional cast on, which is not in the pattern, because what I plan on doing, the pattern, you work like this a little bit back and forth for neck shaping, and then you join it here and just work in the round. I am planning to add like a line for steeking. I don't know what you call that, a band for steeking, so that I can come back after I've made the whole sweater, so I can knit it in the round in stockinette, not have to worry about purling back the other way, but then I can still have a cardigan. So I'm going to knit it like the pullover sweater with a steeking band down the middle, and then after the sweater is done, I'm going to steek it and add a big, like a shawl collar. So this color is actually a new acquisition. This is called Spooky Spice from Dragon Horde Yarn. And you can see there's all kinds of pretty fall colors in there. It's got browns and yellow and green and red and orange, and I think even a little bit of black. And I was going to use this for a pair of cabled socks, but I found that it's more highly speckled than I thought it was. Like, look right there. That's a whole lot of speckles. And I found that because it was so highly speckled, it obscured the cable design because I was doing a lot of little 1x1 cables. So it had to be used for something else. And of course, I wanted to cast it on because it was new yarn, so look, it's a sweater, sort of. Ish. Yeah. We'll see if that happens. I'm starting to realize, like any normal human being, that I only have so many hours to knit in one day, and I just hit the 30-week mark in my pregnancy, and I still have baby things that I want to knit, so I'm starting to realize that I'm probably gonna have to cull the herd of whips a little bit, because realistically, I can finish the row sweater, right? I can finish it. I need one sleeve and a collar. Fine. I can probably finish Recoletta. But realistically, adding in a third sweater right now, when I want to do baby stuff, and I have all this other stuff going on, is probably not realistic. So we'll see. We'll see if that actually gets pursued. Ooh, this is fun. So this next project that I'm working on is a baby knit, and it is going to be a baby blanket, and it is my own design. I sort of just improvised it. I will probably end up putting it in testing and yeah, publish it, but ta-da! You like it? I like it. It was originally gonna be a center out baby blanket that got much bigger than this, but I knit this far and I was like, you know, I really just like how it is with just hearts, and I don't think I want to make it any bigger. So like, it was gonna originally be hearts here and then garter stitch and then another pattern here and garter stitch and another you know, an expanding outward square blanket. And maybe I'll still do that design someday, but for right now, it's gonna be like a patchwork blanket. And each of these is, let me grab my measuring tape because I'm curious. Ooh, my kid stole my measuring tape again. I have a measuring tape that looks like a little fluffy black sheep, and my boys like to steal it all the time. Anyway, I'm gonna estimate this is probably about 6 inches across, so maybe it'll be 7 inches once it's blocked, which is awesome because that means I can make probably like 5 across and 5 down, like that. So it'll be 32, 33, something like that, inches across. School bus. Oh, UPS truck. If only he was delivering stuff to me. I have the windows open today because the weather is nice enough that we don't need air conditioner, but it is definitely still too warm to sit with the windows shut. So sorry if you're hearing a little bit of noise. I live in Philadelphia, you cannot get away from it. So this is the first block in just yellow. And then I was thinking to myself as I was knitting, I have 2 colors. Maybe I should do one with a border on it, like the alternate colored border. So I'm curious, tell me, let me know. I would love to know, do you guys like this better plain, like that I would just do yellow, my other color is gray, yellow, gray, or whatever, you know, whatever pattern I feel like doing? Or do you like it like this with the border, a yellow? It would probably be all yellow with a gray border. I don't think I would do any gray squares with a yellow border because I would still be in that alternating thing. But the yarns I'm using, this is Knit Picks Swish Worsted, in honey and marble heather. And they're really pretty. They just work so nicely together. And I think they've changed the base for this yarn because maybe a year or two ago, I used maybe the DK version of this yarn, and it was not this soft and squishy. Like, this is very, very squishy. It's 100% superwash merino, 110 yards to 50 grams, and it is so soft. Like, oh my gosh, it's so soft, and these squares are just flying off my needles. It's so fast. So really, it's gonna be no issue if I have to make 25 of them or whatever and then join it up. It's gonna be so fast, no problem. And I got, I went on Ravelry because I wasn't really sure how much yardage I needed for a baby blanket, because I wanted to make sure I had enough, first of all. And second of all, usually I kind of just wing it, or I go get the cheapo yarn from the box stores like Joann's or Michael's or whatever. So I don't usually have to estimate exact yardage for a blanket. And yeah, I haven't really done a whole lot of lace blankets. I've done some, but not a lot. Excuse me. My throat is getting dry from talking so much. So I just wanted to make sure I had enough, because like I said before, I really, really don't want to put an online order to Knit Picks and pay shipping for like 150 gram ball of yarn. That's just ridiculous. So I got like 12 of these and 8 of these. So I have like 2,000 yards of this yarn, which apparently I don't need because I mathed it out. And each of these squares only takes about 20 grams of worsted weight yarn, which is a little less than half of this, so it takes maybe 45 yards per square. That is not that much. This would be great for a scrappy blanket too. I think I want to do a big one of these as a scrappy worsted weight yarn blanket, because you could make a square with leftovers and just make it. It would be great. Make a bunch of squares with leftovers. And if they're going to be 7 inches wide, like, holy cow, you don't need that many squares before you have an actual size blanket. What? So, I'm excited. This is going to be my daughter's baby blanket, which is why I'm only going to make it about 30 or 35-ish inches. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. And we will see. We'll see when I decide to put the pattern out, because it's probably going to depend on when I finish this sample blanket. If I can finish it quickly, maybe I will have it up for testing within a month or so. If I don't finish it very quickly, because I'm due the beginning of December, I will probably not put it up until the new year. So, we'll see. Oh, and this is my Just Keep Knitting Bags and Totes bag. Bye, Lori. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I am really dry today. Whew. I have a couple half-finished objects. That's exciting. The first one is the sock I showed you last time, or the partial sock. Ta-da! This is my new design. They are called Almost Aran socks, A-R-A-N, like the style. And this one has an afterthought heel. And then, which I'm so excited about, I also did a sample in one of my hand-dyed yarns that I dyed, which feels really, really special to me, because being able to knit with something I dyed myself, it's awesome. So, this is my handprint turkey colorway that I showed you guys last time. So there it is. See the cables. I'm really, really pleased that the color of the yarn is not hiding the cables. This is the sock that I was going to use that speckly Dragon Horde yarn for, and these little cables on the side were just absolutely hidden by the speckles. So this version has a heel flap and gusset, and it has a square heel turn. Let me show you. There you go. It has a square heel turn and an eye of partridge heel, which is my favorite way to do a heel flap and gusset. I just find that this heel turn fits very nicely. And the interesting thing about it is that it also has a shorter gusset. So basically what that means is you have to do less decreasing down the side. Like, see, this is where my gusset stops. Normally you would have to school bus. I'm doing this in the afternoon, obviously. So normally when you do a heel flap and gusset, you see the gusset decrease all the way down to like here, where the end of the heel flap is. But just because of how this works out, you only have to decrease a little bit less. So these are currently in testing. I think I have a couple more spots open if you're interested in testing over in my Ravelry group. I will link it down below. But yeah, I'm really pleased with these. But they're not FOs because I made one with the afterthought heel and I made one with the heel flap because I just wanted samples of each. And so now I have to make the second one and the second one, and then I'll have 2 pairs of socks. It'll be great. But for now, 2 half finished. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is Yarn Cafe Creations fluffy sock base in her apple colorway, which is great. I was worried about these looking Christmassy when they sat next to each other, but I think they just look kind of like fall. I think I'm okay with it. I don't think they look, I think they're the wrong shade of green and red to look Christmassy. So, socks. And then I decided that it needed to be a fingerless glove pattern too. So let me put this on for you because I'm so excited. Look at that. Look at that glove. I love it so much. So this is really fun. This is a top-down fingerless glove pattern. So you start at the top, cast on for the thumb gusset, and decrease the gusset down the hand. As you can see. Which I've never done one this style before, and I wanted to try it out, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So this is gonna be, there's gonna be a long and a short version in the same colors. I'm gonna do it in this, and then I'm gonna do it in the Yarn Cafe Creations green for the long one. And I'm also gonna make an optional thumb, because right now, I wasn't expecting to like it, but this is actually very comfy just with a thumb opening like this. And because it's going top down, there's no live stitches right here around the thumb like there would normally be for a gusset. So I could literally just finish off the bottom and wear it like this and have no live stitches sitting anywhere. But I am gonna add in an option to pick up stitches around and make, you know, like a little bit of thumb ribbing. So I'm really excited about these. Whoops, needle in the front. Ta-da! And it's kind of funny because these were actually, this is a second try at this pattern. Maybe about a year ago, I had made this version, just with a stockinette palm instead of garter stitch, and they're bottom up instead of top down. And I really liked them. They're long, ta-da, knit on size 1s. So this was kind of the first version of the pattern. And you could see there's a little bit of a, like a little bit of a saggy or baggy or whatever you want to call it at the wrist. And I even got it through testing, and my testers said to me unanimously, like across the board, we hate that it's not fitted at the wrist. And I was like, oh, okay. Normally if somebody said to me, hey, maybe I would put ribbing in the next time I make it, I'd be like, all right, cool, but you're still pretty happy with it? We're good, we're good. But if I have all of my testers say to me, hey, we really hate this part of the pattern, like everybody hates it. Okay, maybe I need to revise a little bit. So this was the first version. And after I did the socks, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and revise that. So this is the second version. See? So they're sisters, you know, they're like cousins. But this it's a more fitted glove, and it's knit on larger needles, so you don't have to knit as much. Yeah, so this is gonna go into testing soon. Like, I have the pattern written up and I just have to finish up the sample and get it out for testing. So there's gonna be a lot up for testing soon. Okay, I think that's it for WITs, finally. Let's do acquisitions, because I have acquisitions this time. I already showed you that one Dragon Horde yarn, and this is the second Dragon Horde yarn. And if you remember, I recently put out a sock pattern called Bad Wolf Bay socks with these really funky, these colors. It was basically this yarn, and I was like, I'm gonna order some more from her, and I'm gonna do fingerless gloves, a fingerless gloves pattern. Spoiler alert. But this got to me in the mail, and just because of the nature of indie dyed yarn, I don't want you guys to think like she's a bad dyer or something, because she's a really, really good dyer. Just because of the nature of indie dyed yarn, this yarn looks completely different from the first skein of yarn I had from her. It's a lighter gray. There's a lot more of the color. The other one was more of a gray with bright speckles. This is almost, I'm gonna take the band off real quick. If you look at it, this is almost a natural base with a little bit of gray and a whole lot of color. So I don't know that it's gonna have the same effect when I go to knit it up. We will see. We'll see. It's still really pretty and I still really like it, but I guess this is just a cautionary tale. When you buy from indie dyers, when you buy indie dyed yarn, just make sure that you get enough from the same dye lot or the same pot. Because had I known, I would have just gotten 2 skeins the first time around instead of 1. I already showed you that green. Ooh, this is fun. I got from one of my favorite dyers in the UK, Jelly Beans Yarns. Jelly Beans Yarns. I got, this is a DK weight, and it's called Mama's Lipstick. It is 75/25 merino and nylon superwash, and it's 240 yards. So pretty. I just really like it a lot. So this is probably going to be a hat. I have a pattern in mind for it. It's going to be a design, because I really like designing with her yarns. It smells nice. Yum. I like it. So that's gonna be a hat. And then the second one is called Ember. Sorry, it shut off on me. I can only record for so long before it shuts off and I have to restart recording. Anyway, this is Ember. And I realized after I ordered it that it kind of looks like my handprint turkey, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna look like I ripped off another dyer, and I'm so embarrassed and I'm so mortified and oh my gosh. But then once I got it and I looked at it, I was like, oh, it's not the same. It's similar. Again, like it could be sisters with my yarn. But here's handprint turkey. You see it's got a lot of red, and it's got some brown and a little bit of yellow. And this is Ember, and it's got a lot of brown. Let me see if I can find a spot. A lot of this pretty golden yellow, and then some red. So they're sisters, but they're definitely not the same, and that made me feel so much better when I got it, because I was like, I really don't want to look like I'm ripping off someone's colors. Not good. But this is sock yarn. So this is her 75/25 superwash sock yarn, and it's 100 grams and 40 yards. So I don't know what this is going to be. I got it because it was pretty and I was paying shipping from England, so I figured I might as well buy some yarn. Go figure. And my last acquisition is from the Aubrey and Sewing company. And I found her on Instagram through, what is it? The Fall Shawl Cow, which is running right now, that I'm helping to run. It's gonna be rustling, hang on. Rustle, rustle, rustle. And she does gorgeous project bags. And I saw one on here, and I was on her Instagram, and I was like, I cannot resist. This is happening. Look at that. Isn't it so cute? Look at the squirrelies and the bunnies and the hedgehogs. My kids are gonna try to steal this as soon as they see it. But I love it so much. Look how big that is. It's so big. It's so big. I think I have to look at the invoice. I thought this was a medium bag. This is a big bag. Where's the invoice? Invoice. Okay, this is the large one. Okay, so this is her large bag. And it has a good amount of interfacing in it too. Like this is a sturdy bag. And it's got a little wristy spot that you could either, this is canvas, black canvas. This is really nice. There's a little tag in there. Guys, this is gonna be like, I'm gonna move the blanket project into here, I think, because this is awesome. It's so big. Love it. And then the other one is this little nautical looking one. And I think this one's gonna be a gift. I'm not gonna say who in case they are watching, but I bought this one with it being a gift in mind. So this is her medium size. Little dots on the inside. It's very cute, it's very nautical, and I like it. I was deciding between this one, and she also has one that's kind of a cream background with anchors on it. Little anchors and heart print. And I thought that was really cute too. So, but I like this one. It's almost a unisex bag. Like you could probably have a man use this as for like a travel bag. I don't know. So it says, thank you so much for your order. I hope you love these bags. Awesome. Very, very, very cool. Nice. And she's cool. She's a very friendly, chatty person on Instagram too, which I like. It's nice to chat with people. I like finding crafters and knitters and dyers and whatever, spinners, weavers to chat with. I like chatting with crafty people. So those are my acquisitions. And then I have a shop update. Well, clarify. I did a shop update last weekend, but because I'm only podcasting every 2 weeks, you get to see it now, or you get to see what I still have left now. So, my very snazzy yarn holding bag. To sort these out. Okay, so my first colorway, this is called Baby Bear Graffiti, or Graffiti Bear. I called it Graffiti Bear. So here it is on the Baby Bear base, and here it is on the Papa Bear base. You can see they're a little different, but it's a tonal gray base with green and gold and pink and purple, because I let my 4-year-old choose the colors for this one, and he was like, here Mom, use this one, and this one, and this one. And I think it looks great. I really like it. So this is Graffiti Bear. And then this is, I think I called this Rainbow Graffiti. So this is similar to Graffiti Bear, but it has a lot more colors in it. So again, it's a gray tonal base with teal and blue and green and red and yellow and black. It's like every color of the rainbow plus some black on Papa Bear and Baby Bear. There you go, there's some of the speckles. You can see all the different colors. do. And Graffiti Unicorn. So this is based off of my unicorn tail yarn, which literally sells as fast as I can get it into the shop. Thank you so much, you guys. Unicorn tail is a tonal pink, purple, and blue. So this is a gray base with pink, purple, and blue on it. And the little strings you guys are seeing is just the strings that I use to keep the skein together. So like when you buy a skein of yarn and you have to untie it to wind it on your Swift or by hand or whatever. So there it is on Baby Bear, Graffiti Unicorn. And there it is on Papa Bear. Ta-da! So those are my graffiti yarns, my new ones. And this is called Red Sky at Night. So it's blue and gray and red on Baby Bear and Papa Bear. And I really love it. I love how it blended in this Papa Bear. It's like, it looks like watercolors almost. And then it's very bright on the Baby Bear base. And then, oh, this is fun. Look at these. This is called Macaw, after a scarlet macaw. So it's yellow, red, and blue, and a little bit of green, because some scarlet macaws have a little bit of green. So again, on Baby Bear and on Papa Bear. And you can see you can see the difference between how the bases take the dye, which is just so much fun. Ta-da! And then the last thing I did is I did a whole lot of Jungle Sunset. So I did four of Jungle Sunset. So I did one on Papa Bear. And this came out really green and yellow looking, which is really cool. There you go, that's more accurate. Green and yellow with some teal. The teal section is so cool. Look at that. Can you see that? Look at that teal and green. This is so cool. I love the colors mixing together. I think this is my favorite colorway to dye just because of how the colors mix together. So I did one on Papa Bear and then I did 3 on Baby Bear. Like that. Like that. And like that. So you can see, even though this is really funny, all 4 of these were in the same dye pot, but they all came out a little bit differently, just because that's how it works. Like this one's really bright, this one's kind of darker. I love it. It's so cool. You're gonna see my little guy come down here because he just woke up from nap, but there he is. Hi, little bear.
Can I say hi?
You can say hi. We're just making a video. There's no one on the other end. Come here, come sit up with me.
Okay, I can sit up.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. You did nap time, huh?
Yeah, but I did nap time.
Yeah. So, and actually it's good timing because I just finished showing you guys everything I had to show you for today. So, we're gonna say goodbye for now. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe so you can see more. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.